Welcome to the Rachel and Ron Show, featuring fun and deep discussions about the things that affect female entrepreneurs most, as well as tangible tools to grow their business, all the while living their best lives. And now, give it up for your hosts, Rachel and Ron.
Yay! Here we are. Good morning, Ron.
Good morning, Rachel. Rachel, do you like that song?
I love it. I love the energy of that.
So I looked for a while. I wanted it to be like that other song that you like, the Feel the Magic in the Air. And so
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning. We have our own show.
No, is it? Do you get a little bit of like butterflies right before? Like it's a nice feeling. Like I miss it.
Totally. I absolutely get butterflies. Like a little bit nervous, a lot excited. Yeah. I mean, you and I both have some stage background. So it's like that same feeling.
I want to talk to you about your stage background. Like what, can you break it down? Like what, did you do a lot of shows growing up?
I didn't because I took voice lessons for, at least a dozen years, but I was always scared of the stage, which is so funny to me because I think there's always been this tension of wanting to be front and center, wanting to share my gifts and kind of shying away from the spotlight all at the same time. So I was in a couple of shows, but really it was like I was honing this talent privately, in my home. It was weird.
It is, and it's, to be fair though, like musicals and stuff, like shows that are like when you're younger, especially, like it's easier to, if you just want to explore, like it's easier to go do other people's shows. And I'd rather do a one-man show that I wrote and be on stage for 2 hours than like have a small part in a musical. Like I get so stressed out with the team there. So I feel you, sister. I feel you. But this is so funny that actually I didn't expect us to go here. But like that's part of showing up, right? Which is like the theme of the day for our first episode.
It is. It's all about showing up. And this is the work that you and I do every day with our clients, helping them show up, step into their most authentic, beautiful selves. And I guess it just took me a lot longer. I was practicing behind closed doors for all these years for the Rachel and Ron show. Who knew?
No, that's why I call you a dream maker. This is like all been building. I know, like all last year I was hosting and stuff, and I was like, no, this is it. This is the real thing right here. So because our first episode, one of the segments that we will start with, or always, like we've done this for years, as our viewers know, we've always done this, is our catch up. So how was your week?
My week was so good. I have to tell you, I really leaned in to the whole winter break thing this year. I would say anytime my kids we should say I'm a mom of 3 11-year-olds. Ron, you have a 5-year-old daughter. So we're doing the parent thing. And I would say that anytime my kids are on a long break, there's a lot of anticipation. And if I'm being really honest with myself and our viewers, some anxiety about how we're going to fill our time together when we have these long stretches of time without any structured programming. And this time I got enough work done before the holidays that I was really able to just kind of work when it felt right. And so I leaned into my time with the kids and we did crafts. And I just love getting crafty because I wouldn't say I self-identify as like an artist or the most creative type, but at the same time, I just like dabbling in it. I feel like it just energizes me in a cool way. So yeah, we did that. And, we have got this beautiful weather in Colorado. So we were able to take some nice walks and yeah. And now I'm just so excited to be in 2021 and heading into this. What about you?
This is you hit up a really you hit up something right. Like I have a 50-50 split with my co-parent who she's brilliant, she's awesome. I can give her a shout out because she's part of the real community, right?
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, big time part of the real community. Carrie Ben Joseph, who's a brilliant web designer. And what else is Carrie Ben Joseph up to lately, Rachel? She also has,
Carrie Ben Joseph is a client of mine, and she just launched an amazing business called Like Cake. You can find her at likecake.co. And I'm really excited about what she brings to women entrepreneurs who are trying to build websites for a fraction of the cost of what it could be to hire a graphic design, for a full custom site. So she's got this really cool course that she just launched, and yeah, she's like uber talented and fabulous, and I'm just so happy for her and excited that I get to work with her.
she is brilliant. And I want to say too, you hit her like and I told her last week, I go, you know what? I'm done. I'm done holding back. Because now it's like we're cool. We're settled in our divorce world. I'm like, I can promote the hell out of you now and tell everyone how brilliant you are because it's not personal at this point. It's personal.
Yeah.
But I'm like, also in addition to half the cost, she's also half the cost as a brilliant web designer because she listens to her clients, she cares about her clients, and she is so detail oriented that she gets if she has clients that like so many clients have come to her and been like, I tried 17 times with this other company to do a website and they charged me $5 million and I didn't get anything out of it. With Carrie, she gets on the first try. So that's
Yeah. Yeah.
so her being detail oriented and brilliant is she knows how to engage our daughter, I think, really well. Like they're always doing crafts and things. I'm not that crafty. I like shows. And my daughter is a phenomenal performer. Like by the time she's 3.5, she's been on stage with me like 4 times. She's brilliant. But I'm very. This is a big anxiety for me, especially in COVID. Was how do I fill my time with her? And I don't want to say like I love chilling with her. We hang out, we could talk, but um, I'm always like I want to keep her engaged, keep her on. So this has been surprisingly a really positive year because I've learned to do really fun activities that didn't involve going to Dave and Buster's or going just to spend random money. Like we've done a lot of cool things too, like walking. She loves the mountains, so we started going to the mountains. Um, and we spent a lot of time with my sister and her family. So we're bubbling, healthy. Like that's it. We don't see anyone else. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so it's been this year has been really cool in terms of like for me gaining confidence in that regard of like being a dad and being involved like and not just being like let's go to Dave and Buster's or Chuck E. Cheese or whatever. I can play with her, but like it's contextualized with other activities. Like this year we've really done things. Actually,
Yeah.
I'm still a little guilty. I'm like we could do more. Um,
Yeah. Well, but we can always do more. But I think to bring this back to business, you just said two things that I think are so powerful. We can always do more, right? As parents, we can always do more in our businesses. And at the end of the day, I think we have to focus on what we are doing as opposed to what we're not doing, right? And so that kind of just crosses all areas of our lives, right? Is just really focusing on like where we are winning. So I love that. And I think also like we've been much more simple in the kinds of things that we're doing to connect with one another, right? So you said like we didn't have to go and spend a lot of money. We don't have to go to some of these fancy places that cost $25 a kid or whatever. The same thing for business, right? Like there's so much that we can do by just connecting one-on-one and just building those relationships and hanging out together.
you're so right. I don't know if we talked about this, but um, a big game changer for me last year was the Share Impact conference. Um, where because prior to that, I would go to all sorts of events, right? And so and I'd go to an event and meet really great people, and I help out a lot with the Dames, which is an amazing group. So I like she like I used to write with Megan Hunter, and we still write stuff. But I used to, when we had live in person events, we'd write sketches, and I would perform with her and stuff. And so I'd meet phenomenal people that way. And then when COVID happened, I was like, then Sheer Impact conference happened, and you guys did such a good job. I'm not just blowing smoke, but you guys did such a good job on the technical front. And I saw like that actually online networking can be more effective where I was able to see like, oh, this person posted something really interesting. I'd go to her profile and be like, she's cool as hell. Like I want to connect. We connected with, we or like someone I adore, Amanda McLernan. She moderated one of your panels, and I was like,
Yeah.
is like a phenomenal host. I like just emailed her and complimented her. I was like, you're awesome on stage. Like you're awesome on camera. And then we became cool, and then we started working together. like you're right. The simplicity of just reaching out to someone that you can almost vet and see
Yeah.
on a personal front. And like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, totally. Oh my gosh, you just mentioned some really fabulous people. Megan Conter was my first business coach that I paid a lot of money to. And I was like so nervous about investing with her, not with her, but just investing in myself in that way, right? And she did not let me down. She was so amazing to work with. Yeah, she's good people. I love, love, love that lady. So Megan, if you're watching, hey there, friend. Amanda McLernan, same thing. That girl has spunk. She is fabulous on stage. And, you know, she really has a powerful message in what she's building with Keep Social Media Social. I love that. Right. And it's all about what we're talking about, which is building those relationships and remembering that when we're communicating with people through our social media platforms, that's exactly what it is. We're communicating with people. We're building relationships with people. We're not connecting with pages or profiles, right? And so, yeah, those are two great people. You know, Ron, I got this year, I was so excited. I ordered this like in the beginning of December, and then I forgot it was sitting on my desk. It's the You Are a Badass calendar. So every day you can rip off another little page. And I mean, Jen Sincero, who founded this whole You Are a Badass, well, she wrote the book and founded this whole movement. She's so insightful and inspiring. And you know, as we're just talking about some of these cool women, I'm thinking about what I was reading from the January 1st one, which I just actually pulled off today because I had forgotten it was sitting here on my desk for the last month. So I'm excited to share this with you because I think this is also, excuse me, a cool segue into bringing on our first guest. Because you and I have had the amazing fortune of working with cool women and women who are doing really powerful things to just make our world a better place. I love that. Okay, so here's what Jen Sincero has to say on January 1st. Okay, Ram, you're going to love this. Everybody arrives on this planet with unique desires, gifts, and talents. And as you journey through life, your job is to discover what yours are, to nurture them, and to bloom into the most authentic, gleeful, and badassiest version of yourself. Yeah. Doesn't that like sum up not just the work that we do in helping women unleash that, but like the work that they're doing?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. And so much of that badassery, if you will, is stopped short a lot of times, right? Like, because I think like, how did you say, like, can you read the quote again?
The what?
Can you read it again real quick? I just want, there's like some phrasing there I wanna cite.
Yeah, everybody arrives on this planet with unique desires, gifts, and talents.
So unique desires, gifts, and talents. This is exactly the work that we try to like, you and I both try to like align, right? And so I think like, I just yesterday, I just figured out after years of being in business, like my mission, which is I was like, you know what? I believe like in my core, I'm like, I think storytelling heals. And that can be in a comedic sense, that could be in a creative sense. Videos, podcasts, presentations, like storytelling heals. And that's been my thread for 20 years, you know, as an artist and then as now in business. And so it's like women that I've worked with that like those three kind of points are oftentimes not in alignment. And we have to do so much work to align them so that they can show up authentically and like a badass. And which is why it's so awesome that we have our guest today, Leslie Gutstein, who like that's what she does too, right? She helps people dress into showing up, right? Like with their authentic self, not just the perceived like, oh, I should wear this, or I should look this way, I should behave this way, right? Can we bring her on? I'm too excited.
Let's bring her on. I'm excited too. Yeah. Dun dun. Here she is, Leslie Gutstein. Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, guys.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I feel so honored to be here.
Look at that vibrant red. Like you just brought the day. Like this is it. This is the power we're leading.
I knew you were going to ask me about the color I'm wearing. I knew.
And what was that in the what was I going to ask you? It was like red. What's your opinion on red?
What was your intention of wearing red?
What is your intention?
Well, red is actually a color of like energy and passion. I kind of needed a boost of energy today. But it's also like a mixture of orange. So I wanted to bring like a creativity to the table today. It's not a real red, it's like a red orange. So
that's cool. I love, this is something I love at, like Rachel, I'm sure you've experienced too, is like, you know, you talk about bringing out what's really within, right? So even the way you use colors is fascinating. You're not just saying like red because I like red. You're able to like break down the hues, like the makeup of it, right? Does this pertain or does this kind of flow into the work that you're doing, especially this year with the notion of your real self versus you know, or tell us about that for a bit. You don't like the idea of like the new you. You like the idea of the real you for 2021, right? Can you talk to us about that first and then we'll talk about your passion for color?
yeah, so I think a lot of businesses, especially like fitness, nutrition, you know, you hear a lot of new year, new you, right? So I kind of want to change the wording and for what I do, and I want to say new year, real you, how to bring out the real you. Who are you? What qualities and traits and talents and gifts do you bring to the table? You know, when I dress somebody, when I help people with their wardrobes, I'm not just dressing them from the outside. What I do is really get to know you from the inside out so that we can bring all those things to you know, for everybody to see. You know, that's the purpose of what I do. So
Right, Rachel? Like it's such a distinction because like I always, you know, I don't do New Year's resolutions anymore, but I remember when I was not happy with myself and I wanted to make a lot of changes. I like the idea of new because it felt different than whatever I am. And then I realized like through working with amazing coaches, like the answers all live right here. It's just on earth, right? Is that do you find Leslie like do you find that that coincides with the work that you're doing on the styling side?
on the styling side,
Yeah,
sorry, I couldn't hear you.
answers that are in.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Is my like my thing is now where okay like do you find that like the work that you do is like in addition to finding the right colors the right patterns do you find that it also is about like unearthing the answers that live within a person?
Well, you know, the color plays a huge part of getting dressed. And it's not just about the messaging. I mean, there's also learning what colors work for your undertone and what colors work for your skin tone. And so there's so many different ways that you can use color to make yourself look energized or just, you know, kind of harmonizing your whole entire look from your hair to your skin tone to your eye color. So there's so many, you know, parts that play into it. And color also sends messages, you know, when you want to, you know, let's say you're going to an interview, I wouldn't necessarily wear red because it is overpowering and you don't want to overpower that situation. So it's such a cool way to use as a tool. It really is a tool to communicate and to get whatever message that you want to send in that situation. So it really plays in a lot of different aspects, you know, in your wardrobe. It's really cool.
Yeah, I love what you do and talk about though, like how you really dress from the inside out. Some of our viewers might not know, I actually got my start in the fashion industry. That was my first business, which I launched in 2004. And so when Leslie and I first met each other, and Ron, you and I both had the pleasure of working with Leslie in a coaching capacity. But when Leslie and I first met, we got to talking a little bit about this industry, the fashion industry and the styling industry, and our desire for helping people use it for good, right? Because I think that the industry as a whole also has this potential to really set people into a spiral or make people feel, leads people to feeling less than or like they're not where they want to be. And, you know, you and I, Ron, just started our conversation earlier talking about focusing on where we are and who we are and where we're winning. And so I love, like, that was definitely one of the things that Leslie attracted. You know, I think that we had between us from the get-go was like this shared perspective of using fashion and style and color and this physical aspect for good and in a different way.
Leslie, you're the best. It's basically, you're the best. But I have a question. I have a quick question. Rachel, what's your favorite color?
I don't know. I just love color. I don't know if I have a favorite. And I actually was going to ask Leslie, like, what does it say about me that I put on this bright color blue today? Well, it's not too bright. It's like this is one of my brand colors, and I do dress in my brand colors, which are like pink and a brighter pink and my blue sometimes. But what does that say about me?
Blue is calming. It also brings out, aspects of trustworthiness. So it's a really good thing, if you have a meeting that you want to, have a good impression, it's a good thing to wear blue because, people will trust you and it's a calming color. It's a cool color. So, isn't that cool? Like, you don't really think about it, but it's the subliminal messaging that it sends when you get dressed. And it's not like, I really didn't understand this until I started, working as a personal stylist. It wasn't really something I was thinking about. Even in school, when I went to fashion school, it wasn't like a huge part of styling for me. A lot of it was more of like the cuts and the actual style types. But the messaging that I see from color analysis and what I've learned the last 2 years, I feel like it's such a huge part of our wardrobes. So
cool. I love that you've taken it to that level. Tell us what else you're doing in your business. Like, how can people experience you and your brand? And I don't even know if we said what your brand is yet. So tell us like more about Atarie.
Yeah, so I started Atarie 2 years ago as a boutique. And I had this vision when I was in school for merchandising that I would start this boutique. And so I did that. And, as I was working with my customers and some of them became clients as, for my styling business, I really realized that, there was this need for women to really get to know themselves on a much deeper level. For me, my story, I have a long story, but I was a young mom. And so you kind of lose yourself when you don't put yourself as a priority. And so I was this young mom and I kind of lost my identity for a long time. And I wasn't really focused on getting to know myself. I was, focused on my kids. So it was really hard for me to really get in touch with myself. And so that's part of my journey. And I see that for a lot of new moms. I see that for a lot of entrepreneurs who aren't like taking the time to really get to know how they want to be perceived in the world, So, my business has transitioned, the last 2 years immensely. I mean, it's such a crazy change that I've gone through. So, yeah, I really, my mission is to really help women, first of all, de-stress getting dressed, help make it a little bit more fun and easy, but also to really get to know, who you are and what you want to see in the mirror when you look, at yourself every day and what message you want to send to other people. So,
like something that you're doing that's awesome. You're also staying not only up with the trends in fashion, but you're also staying up in the trends in terms of what the fashion world is doing online, right? So you recently, like, you found this great app where you can design like the wardrobe, right? Like, tell us more about the technological stuff that you're adapting, like that you've adapted this year.
Yeah, because it's really cool that actually, like, we have viewers. I know we do, Ron, because we just launched the show like 25 minutes ago, and I know we have viewers around the country. And what's so cool about what Leslie does is she doesn't have to come into your closet. Like, she can do this from Chicago, where she lives.
Yeah, I've had to make that huge transition from going into people's homes and to doing virtual consultations. And it's very similar. It's a very similar process. I love going into people's homes and having one-on-one, consultations, but, times are different. And, so right now, there's a way for me to do virtual shopping trips. There's a platform for stylists where we don't go shopping together in person, but I take them, to different stores online, and I show them the products, and and we'll tell you how to use this for your body type or in different ways, that pertains to your lifestyle. So that's one of the platforms that I've discovered this year. So that's really cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. And, just doing virtual outfit planning, so it takes kind of the guesswork out of getting dressed every day. So we can still do that. So there's a lot of it's the same process.
Have you found though that people are like, they're like, yeah, like I don't really like style. Like when I'm out and about, it's important, but right now I'm just wearing yoga pants. Like, have you found that to be the case, or are people still dressing up now?
Well, I think, there's a population that's still working, even if it's on Zoom. You still have to have a presence and present yourself in a professional way. So I do have clients that need to be dressed on Zoom, and it's still very important because they're going to see your face and they still have to see part of you. You're still getting dressed on top. And
I also think, Leslie, sorry to interrupt, but doesn't it shape how you show up too when you're dressed? Like, I think I even read somewhere that there was a study about people who wear shoes, even when they're on Zoom. Like, if you put on heels, the way that you show up is going to be different than, Ron, you don't have to put on heels unless you want, but that the way you show up when you have shoes on even. So it's got to be the same thing with pants, right?
Well, there is research that shows that when you just get dressed every day, it ups your productivity and it ups your confidence because, there's a way to feel like when you're dressed in yoga pants and loungewear, you have a feeling of, I'm relaxed. I'm just chilling. So when you get dressed and you have that intention of up leveling your day, you up level your productivity and what you bring to your job or whatever it is that you're doing. If you're going out with your friends, you're up leveling the way you interact with your friends, right? So it gives you a boost of confidence, but there is research that shows that, it's going to boost your productivity too.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's such a good takeaway. Oh, go ahead, Ron.
Oh, my favorite part of the day was two favorite parts of the day was when you said everything's better in pants or something to that effect, and it's true of life. And when Leslie said you're just chilling.
You're just chilling. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, loungewear was like a huge 2020, trend. Everyone was wearing loungewear. And then people got sick. I think people are getting sick of it because like you feel like you're just not yourself.
You feel like you're in lockdown, don't you?
Yeah, right.
Doesn't it connote lockdown now?
So then, that begs my next question then. Leslie, what are the 2021 trends?
So there is going to be an element of this, loungewear, but to like an up level of loungewear. So it's still going to be a trend because people are, just because it's 2021 doesn't mean that it's just over, like it's going to continue. So, there is, a lot of activewear and loungewear that is in the mix. And you're going to see probably a lot of like, nicer fabric pajamas, but that people will wear as sets. So they look like, pajamas, but they're really not. They're kind of, everyday wear. So it's going to change the trends of 2021 for sure. But I think people, I think also like an element of color, like spring and summer is going to be, a lot of color because it's also known to boost your energy and your mood. I mean, I'm telling you, color plays a huge part of your wardrobe. So when you're wearing brighter colors, it really can boost your mood too. So, we're all traumatized, I think,
It'll be like this reawakening. We'll all come out in our bright colors and start seeing each other on the streets again. It'll be so beautiful.
Yeah. So there's definitely going to be some interesting trends.
Cool. Leslie, oh my gosh, this was such a great convo. Thank you for kicking off the Rachel and Ron show with us today.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. This was so fun.
Oh, we're honored to share more about Atarie Consulting and the work that you're doing. And really, our work is all about raising up other women and what they're doing. So it's really a joy to be able to share all about Leslie Gutstein and your work with our viewers.
Thank you. I mean, if anybody wants, like a 30-minute consultation, I would be happy to talk it over with anyone. So feel free to reach out.
Sweet. Thank you so much. We will definitely put that in the show notes and appreciate that invitation. Yeah. What else,
Yeah.
Ron?
I recommend it. I just want to say I recommend it because talking with Leslie, like it's just cool. It is always cool just to see someone who has a business that is so passionate. I think growing up, I had this vision that I didn't know about people in business. I was like, what? Like I came from the theater world and film and stuff, and I was like, oh, like everyone. I had this belief that that was everybody's dream, and everyone just did other things. Like then as I got in the business world, I saw people really passionate, really committed, very creatively fulfilled. And then it's like I meet someone like Leslie who just like, lives it. Like every day, it's just like post on Instagram. It's just you live the brand, right? She is the thing. And so I definitely recommend even just chatting with her for half an hour. Like you get so much out of it, and just you start dressing different and feeling different. It's like Leslie, you are a gift. A gift.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for being here. We'll chat soon with you.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, Leslie. Ron, that was so great. I'm glad that we invited Leslie as our first guest.
So you cracked me up. I am too. But it's funny. I'm surprised you don't have a favorite color. I was thinking.
Well, my favorite color has evolved over the years. My favorite color when I was young used to be hunter green. And then in my early 20s, it was lavender. And, I wear a lot of this color and pink. So this is like as Leslie just informed me, it's like a cool, soft, trustworthy blue.
Yeah.
And like a lighter pink.
Are you wearing like an aqua blue?
Yeah, it's a little bit aqua. It's like, can you see my bracelet? Of course, that has to match. Yeah, so it's kind of like that. Leslie also said something that I just want to be sure to mention before we go out with the show today. And that is, she talked about how she's really evolved in the last couple of years with her business. And I know you and I have talked about this at some point as well, that like we think we're just going to go out there and launch a business, right? And just do our thing. And it doesn't necessarily happen just like that, right? Like we have to try things and make our way, and it's just not this linear path, right?
I'm gonna get all serious about this. Yeah, like this is something that I've loved. I started this incarnation of my business about 4 years ago now actually. And the reason that I love people was like, I actually have one male client, but the majority of my clients like are all female. And I love it because they're so, I found that the females I work with are so open to the creative process of figuring it out and experimenting and trying things. Whereas I have a client who she got in with a coaching business or a coaching company. Like she hired a coaching company last year when she came up with the idea for what she wanted to do for her coaching business. She's like, okay, this is what I want to do. She hired a company. She thought they would help her bring it out, and it was very male dominated. And they were like, yeah, okay, good idea. Not going to sell. Here's what you need to do, and they completely try to force her away successfully, and so like now we're doing work to try to get her back into that like feeling free to do what she loves. And I was like, we're exploring like all the successes that she's had over the past year, and it always kind of came back to that idea of like, I was like, it's okay, forgive yourself. Like that first 2 years, you're trying to figure it out. Like we don't know 100% how it's going to sell, how it's going to land with your audience, and like
totally
male dominated, like forcing. I was like, let's step back. Let's just forgive ourselves. Like you said, let's look at what is working, like the things that are working.
Yeah.
So I totally feel you.
Yeah. Well, and I think like it goes back to the whole gifts and talents thing too, right? Like what's innate inside of us, right? Leslie talked about this, and I think sometimes we try to conform to what we think we should be doing or what our business should look like, and at the end of the day, we can only be us, right?
it's funny that when they articulate the new, like when they say the new you or whatever, it's what you think should be. It as you said, it's popped the light in my head. I was like, oh, it's when they're saying new, they mean should. They're shoulding. It's like real, which implies like it's underneath, it's inside of you. Like I know.
Yeah.
I was like, that's such a smart idea. Like it sounds so simple. Like not new. How about real? How about
Yes.
all the stuff, all the clutter that you built on over the past year? Agreed.
Totally.
This feels like such a morning show. I love it. Like I've always wanted to host a morning show. Like what a cool concept.
Yeah, here we are. I have loved this, and I'm excited for next week's guest that we're not even going to hint around at. So we will just wait to introduce her. She's something. Yeah. Okay, so you can find us on YouTube where our shows will be posted. You can connect with us at Real Impact. And Ron, what's your page?
You can contact me through Rachel. I'm Artful Speaking. So artfulspeaking.com, and it's one L in there. So Artful Speaking, but it's not two L's. Artfulspeaking.com, or find me on Facebook, Rhonda Joseph. I have an Instagram page. I don't use it that much. But I guess at Rhonda Joseph on Instagram too. But yeah, if people are looking for help showing up, like one of us, I mean, you've helped me show up like immensely. So yeah, like, and I told you one of my coaching philosophies is WWRD. What would Rachel do?
What would Rachel do? Oh, thank you. I'm honored that that's one of your coaching philosophies. Thank you. And with that, it's a wrap, right?
You know what we should do for next time? I just thought about it now. A, I'm gonna get a microphone today, but B, and that we should have like a closing song. Here, I'll put the music back on. How was that?
We do. We need a closing song. Okay. Well, Ron, happy Tuesday.
I put it on too early.
That's okay. That's all right. It's our first show, and you know what? It's all about just showing up, taking the first step, knowing you can do it, ripping the Band-Aid off, whatever it is, right? It doesn't have to go perfectly. It just has to go. So thank you for joining us today, Ron. So fun chatting with you, and we'll see you next week.
You're a gift. Thank you, Rachel. So fun chatting with you. And Leslie Gutstein. Oh, come on.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.